Welcome to Seeing Green Solutions for Our Daily Lives, the podcast where we spotlight the brands, ideas, and people making it easier to live sustainably every day. Today's episode is part of our Greening My series, where we unpack our homes and our everyday routines to explore practical ways to make them a bit more sustainable. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Seeing Green podcast. For our 45th episode, we return to our Greening My series, where we take different parts of our homes and daily lives and explore them through a sustainability lens.
This is the 8th episode in this series. Wow, 8 already. Following greening my bathroom, bedroom, closet, pet care, meal kits, happy hour, and sneakers.
Wow, we're really working our way around our daily lives. You can find these prior episodes wherever you get your podcasts or online at seeinggreen.eco.
Today's topic was inspired by a surprising insight that came up again and again across recent Spotlight episodes and research. Laundry is one of the most resource-intensive household activities, yet also one of the most overlooked opportunities for meaningful climate action.
Yeah, it really stood out, didn't it? We've featured brands tackling plastic waste, reducing energy use, and rethinking home care, and it became clear that the everyday act of doing laundry deserves its own deep dive in our Greening My series.
Absolutely. So with that, welcome to Greening My Laundry, where we explore how something we all do every week, sometimes every day, can become a powerful force for reducing emissions, saving water, eliminating plastic waste, and supporting circular design.
In this episode, we'll start by unpacking the environmental footprint of laundry, from energy use and water consumption to detergent production and microfiber pollution. Then we'll turn to real-world solutions: smarter appliances, cleaner detergents, and everyday behavior shifts that reduce your footprint without sacrificing convenience.
And as always, this episode's about progress, not perfection. Practical actions that make a measurable difference when adopted across millions of households. Because when it comes to sustainability, few changes are as powerful as the ones we repeat every week.
Okay, let's get started. So let's kick things off with a pretty provocative question, something to really anchor this whole deep dive. What if I told you your laundry routine creates more emissions each year than your car on a road trip?
It does sound shocking, doesn't it? But, well, that figure is actually substantiated when you consider the sheer scale and the frequency of doing laundry. We're talking about the average household doing almost 300 loads every single year.
300, wow.
Yeah, it's this sort of invisible planetary impact that's just hiding in plain sight.
And when you look at where the energy actually goes in that cycle, the picture snaps into focus pretty much immediately. You hit the start button, and get this. A whopping 90% of the energy consumed in that machine goes just to heating the water.
90%, it's huge. Only the remaining, 10% is actually used to power the motor and spin the drum.
That one statistic, 90%, that feels like the core piece of knowledge you really need to walk away with today, right?
Absolutely. If we're talking about emissions, the carbon footprint, the biggest lever we can pull is simply the temperature. It's all about the heat.
And then you layer on top of that the issue with the products we use. I mean, we're shipping liquid detergent that is often 60 to 90% just water.
Right, mostly water.
And it's packaged in these single-use plastic jugs. Our sources show that over 800 million of those jugs are thrown away in the U.S. alone every single year.
800 million. It's just a monumental plastic problem before we even get into the chemistry, what's actually inside the jug.
So the big takeaway here for you listening is that you don't have to completely overhaul your lifestyle or, install solar panels tomorrow to make a real difference.
Not at all. You can dramatically cut your laundry emissions maybe by up to 75% just by changing a single setting on your washing machine. Just switching to cold water.
Okay, that sounds like a total free win. But let's, introduce some friction right away. I know some listeners are probably thinking, okay, but what about stains? Doesn't cold water just lock stains in? Won't my clothes feel less clean?
That is the crucial question, isn't it? And it really speaks to some cultural habits that are, frankly, a bit outdated now. Modern science has caught up. Detergent manufacturers have actually reformulated their products specifically to dissolve and clean effectively in cold water. In fact, for a lot of synthetic fabrics and delicate items, cold water is often better.
Better? How so?
Well, it helps preserve the dyes, stops colors from running, and it maintains the integrity of the fabric itself. So the performance really isn't an excuse anymore. The difference in cleaning is negligible for most loads, but the environmental benefit, it's massive.
Okay, let's dig into the scale of that environmental benefit then. We talked about carbon being the first big lever heating the water. What actually happens if we all just universally adopt the cold wash habit?
The scale is, well, it's immense. Our sources calculate that if every single household in the U.S. simply switched to washing only in cold water, we'd save something like 34 million tons of CO2.
34 million tons.
Yeah. And to put that in perspective, that's getting close to 8% of the voluntary reduction targets the U.S. committed to under the Kyoto Protocol. It is a monumental figure, really, for such a simple switch.
That really puts it into perspective. And we can't forget the second energy hog in the laundry room, right? The dryer.
Definitely not. Dryers are number 2 on the list of household energy consumption, typically right after the refrigerator.
Wow.
They could easily cost the average home over, say, $96 a year just to run. And the simplest intervention there, line drying, just hanging clothes out, that saves about 700 pounds of CO2 and maybe $75 annually per household.
So again, when we think about that carbon lever, it really is all about eliminating the heat, whether it's hot water or the dryer.
Exactly. Heat is the enemy here from an energy perspective.
Okay, so beyond energy, we've also got water consumption. The sheer volume of fresh water just being pumped into our machines, load after load, that's pretty substantial too.
It really is. The average household uses around 6,000 gallons of water just for laundry every single year. But the type of machine you use makes a massive difference here.
How so?
Well, if you still have an older top-loading machine, it can easily guzzle, 40 gallons per load, maybe even more.
40 gallons.
Yeah. Whereas the newer Energy Star front loaders, the ones with the horizontal drum, they're dramatically more efficient. They might use only 18 to 25 gallons.
Okay, that's a huge difference.
It is. Switching to one of those can literally save you 6,000 gallons of water per year compared to an older model. That's enough to fill a small swimming pool.
Wow. Okay. So machine choice matters a lot for water. Now, let's tackle the detergent footprint. You called it a triple threat. Chemicals, shipping, and plastic waste. We already hit the 800 million plastic jugs number, which is just staggering.
We're shipping these giant, heavy containers of mostly water, which vastly increases the fuel needed for transportation, adding to the carbon footprint again.
It's like layers of impact. And then there's chlorine, bleach, sodium hypochlorite. I mean, it feels like a standard laundry tool, but it's a pretty harsh chemical, right?
It's highly effective, yes, but it causes serious pollution once it goes down your drain.
How exactly?
Well, chlorine bleach, when it mixes with certain other chemicals often found in the wastewater system or even just as it naturally breaks down, it creates compounds called organochlorines.
Organochlorines?
Yeah, they're synthetic chemical compounds, and the trouble is they're incredibly persistent, really enduring. Some can take years, even decades, to break down in the environment, and they've been linked to developmental issues and are suspected carcinogens. So the problem isn't just about, immediate irritation. It's about creating lasting water pollution.
Okay, so that's another thing to maybe rethink. Moving to another source of kind of enduring pollution, let's talk microplastics. This is the ocean lever, you said, where our clothes themselves become the pollutant.
Yes, this is a major, major concern, and it's getting more attention now.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you wash synthetic fabrics like polyester, nylon, spandex, fleece, they shed tiny threads, microfibers.
Right, the fuzz you sometimes see.
Exactly. But many are microscopic. And because they're so small, often less than 5 millimeters long, they frequently just bypass standard wastewater treatment plants. They flow directly out into our rivers and oceans.
Straight into the environment.
Straight into the environment. They contribute massively to plastic pollution, and really concerningly, they're entering the food chain when fish and other marine life consume them, and eventually potentially us.
That is deeply worrying. And then compounding all these impacts the energy, the water, the chemicals, the microplastics as our cultural habit of just overwashing.
Ah, yes, the silent killer, you could call it. It really is. Most clothes, let's be honest, are washed after a single wear, simply because we think we should, not because they're genuinely dirty or smelly.
It's just routine.
It's pure routine.
Yeah.
And this unnecessary washing just compounds every single environmental impact we've discussed. More water use, more energy, more chemical release, and more microplastic shedding. I mean, consider the lint you pull out of your dryer filter.
Yeah.
That lint is literally your clothing falling apart. Overwashing physically wears out your garments faster, shortening their lifespan. Even big brands like Levi's, they actually recommend washing jeans maybe only every 2 weeks, not after every wear, to preserve resources and the denim itself.
Every 2 weeks. Okay, that's a mindset shift for many people, myself included probably.
It definitely is, but it makes a difference.
Okay, so the takeaway summary of the problem seems pretty clear. We've got carbon tied mainly to heating water. We've got ocean pollution tied to microfiber shedding from synthetics. And we've got huge plastic waste tied to detergent packaging.
That's a good summary. Those are the big three levers.
But the good news, and this is what this series is all about, is that innovators, our solutionists, are tackling all three, often at the same time.
Indeed. And that's key. Greening your laundry isn't just one thing. It's really a system change. It involves strategic product decisions, what you buy, combined with these critical behavioral choices, how and when you wash.
Right, so let's start with the big decisions, appliances. When we invest in a new washing machine or dryer, we're kind of locking in our environmental footprint for, 10 years? Maybe more.
Easily 10, 15 years. So it's a crucial decision point. First, always look for the Energy Star certification. That's a baseline for efficiency. We already know front loaders save a ton of water compared to old top loaders.
Okay.
For drying, which we identified as such a huge energy sink, you really want to look specifically for either heat pump dryers or condensing dryers.
Heat pump or condensing? What's the difference there?
They're both closed-loop systems. Basically, they don't vent hot, moist air outside like traditional dryers. They condense the moisture out of the air inside the drum and often reuse the heat. This makes them significantly more efficient, maybe 20 to 50% more efficient than conventional vented dryers.
Okay, 20 to 50% is a big saving, but I know there's often a catch.
There is. The friction here is definitely the upfront cost.
Mm-hmm.
A heat pump dryer especially can be significantly more expensive to buy initially. That's a real consideration for many households.
Right. So what's the argument for making that bigger investment?
The argument is purely about the long-term savings and the reduced environmental impact over the machine's lifespan. Because they use so much less energy load after load, you eventually recoup that higher initial cost through lower electricity bills. Plus, you're significantly lowering your carbon footprint for years to come.
Makes sense. And what about features within dryers?
Absolutely. Look for models with moisture sensors. This should be non-negotiable, really. They automatically shut the machine off the moment the clothes are actually dry, preventing all that wasted energy from just tumbling already dry clothes in hot air.
Okay, good tip. So once we've got the right gear, or are making do with what we have, the easiest, totally zero-cost step is that whether-to-wash shift you mentioned.
Exactly. Normalize re-wearing clothes that aren't actually dirty.
Yeah.
Spot clean any small stains immediately so they don't set. You can use a natural fabric spray, maybe something with essential oils, just to freshen items up between washes rather than automatically tossing them in the hamper.
Less washing means less impact across the board.
Precisely. This simple behavioral shift saves water, saves energy, reduces microfiber shedding, and it extends the life of your clothes, which means you buy new clothes less often, which is a whole other crucial part of fighting overconsumption.
Okay, now for the fun part, let's dive into the Solutionist Spotlight on detergent. This is where we tackle the plastic waste and the toxicity issues head on. What should people be looking for?
You want to look for detergents with readily biodegradable ingredients, definitely phosphate-free, and ideally using plant-based surfactants. A good shortcut is looking for certifications like the EPA Safer Choice label or products that get top grades from the Environmental Working Group or EWG.
EPA Safer Choice and EWG. Can you quickly explain what those mean?
Sure. EPA Safer Choice means the product's ingredients have met the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's pretty stringent criteria for safer chemical ingredients, looking at things like human health and environmental effects. EWG is a nonprofit organization that rates thousands of products based on ingredient transparency and potential hazards. When you see those logos or good ratings, you can be much more confident you're making a safer, more eco-friendly choice.
Got it. Okay, let's look at some specific brands making waves here. First up, maybe the pioneer of the pod format, Drops.
Yeah, Drops was really key in demonstrating that you could get concentrated cleaning power and efficiency delivered without needing a massive plastic jug. They use these ultra-concentrated little pods.
And the packaging.
That's the other key part. They package them in recyclable, compostable paperboard boxes, so they completely eliminate the plastic waste from the primary packaging. Plus, they're a certified B Corp and actively offset the carbon emissions generated from shipping their products, addressing that transportation footprint too.
Okay, comprehensive. Next, Blue Land. They seem really focused on zero waste.
They absolutely are. Blue Land's whole mission is built around being 100% plastic-free across all their cleaning solutions. Their laundry tablets are particularly significant.
Why is that?
Because they are the first major brand, really, to offer a tablet without that plastic film coating called PVA, polyvinyl alcohol.
Ah, Ah, PVA. I've heard some debate about that.
Exactly. Many conventional pods and some sheets have a PVA outer film. It's technically designed to be water-soluble, but there's growing research and criticism suggesting it might not fully biodegrade in all wastewater treatment conditions or natural environments, potentially contributing to microplastic pollution.
So Blue Land just skips it.
Blue Land skips it entirely. They offer a true zero-plastic tablet product. It comes initially in a reusable Forever tin, and then you just buy refills that come in compostable paper packaging. They're also EPA Safer Choice certified.
Interesting. Okay, then we have a different format, altogether detergent sheets or strips, which companies like True Earth have really popularized.
Yes, True Earth's eco-strips are, I think, a brilliant logistical innovation. They essentially take the concentrated liquid detergent, remove the water, and press it into this incredibly light, dry, dissolvable strip.
So it looks like a little piece of paper.
Kind of, yeah. Think about the physical difference between shipping a heavy, bulky jug of liquid versus shipping a flat, almost feather-light envelope of these strips. The reduction in space and weight needed for transportation is dramatic, sometimes up to 94% lighter.
Wow, 94%.
Yeah, which drastically slashes the fuel consumption and the emissions associated with shipping.
Yeah.
It's concentrated cleaning power with a radically smaller transport footprint and zero plastic packaging.
That's very clever. And finally, let's talk about Clean Cult. They focus more on the refill model, but with a specific twist, right?
That's right. Clean Coat really embraces what they call the refill ritual. They offer high-performance liquid detergent for those who still prefer liquid, but they package their refills in recyclable, paper-based milk cartons, not plastic bottles or pouches.
Milk cartons. Okay.
Yeah, it's about boxing out plastic waste by prioritizing this simple, widely recyclable container material. Makes it really easy for the consumer to stick to the refill cycle using their glass dispenser bottles and avoid contributing to plastic waste stream altogether. They're also very focused on ingredient transparency.
So lots of great options there, moving away from the plastic jug and questionable ingredients. What about swapping out other common, maybe toxic laundry additives like fabric softeners and dryer sheets?
Absolutely. Fabric softeners are largely unnecessary marketing creations, frankly. They often contain chemicals like quaternary ammonium compounds or quats that coat fabrics, reduce absorbency, especially in towels, and it can irritate sensitive skin.
So what's the simple swap?
The simple, cheap, effective swap is plain old white vinegar. Just use about a cup in the rinse cycle compartment of your washer. It's mild acidity, it's about 5% acetic acid, naturally neutralizes any leftover alkaline soap residue, and helps release minerals from hard water, leaving your clothes feeling soft.
And it doesn't make clothes smell like vinegar.
Nope. The smell completely dissipates as the clothes dry. It just leaves them feeling naturally soft and residue-free.
Okay, I might have to try that one. And for the dryer, we need to eliminate those single-use dryer sheets, heard that?
Definitely. Those sheets are typically made of synthetic materials coated with chemicals and fragrances designed to reduce static and soften clothes. They create unnecessary waste and release potentially irritating chemicals into the air.
The swap.
The best swap is reusable wool dryer balls. They're inexpensive. You can use them for literally over 1,000 loads. They work by physically tumbling the clothes apart, which improves air circulation and can reduce drying time slightly. They also naturally reduce static cling without any chemicals or added waste. You can even add a few drops of essential oil to them if you like a scent.
Wool dryer balls. Simple, effective, reusable.
Got it.
Okay. Our final solution area targets that tricky microplastic pollution problem. Since we know synthetic clothes shed these tiny fibers, what can we actually do once they're already in the wash?
Right. This is a newer but really critical area of innovation. We need tools to basically capture the fibers before they escape the washing machine and go down the drain.
Okay, what options are out there? Let's start with maybe a more passive solution, Guppy Friend bag.
Yes. The Guppy Friend is essentially a large washing bag made from a very special, tightly woven synthetic material. You place your synthetic clothing like your fleece jackets, workout gear, leggings inside the bag before putting it in the washing machine.
So it contains the clothes?
Exactly. During the wash cycle, the bag acts as both a physical barrier, reducing the amount of fiber breakage through less friction, and as a microfiber catcher. It traps most of those tiny plastic threads that do shed inside the bag itself.
And then what do you do with the trapped fibers?
Afterwards, you simply find the collected fibers bunched up inside the bag, usually in the corners or seams, and you carefully remove them and dispose of them in your regular trash bin. The key is keeping them contained and out of the wastewater system.
Okay, so it contains the problem. What about a more, say, powerful or systemic fix? You mentioned Planet Care.
Yes, PlanetCare offers an external active filter system. This is a device that you actually hook up directly onto your washing machine's outflow hose, the hose that drains the water out.
So it filters the water as it leaves?
Precisely. Their testing shows it can capture a very high percentage, up to 98%, of all the microfibers leaving the machine. But what's really critical about their model is that it operates on a closed-loop system.
What does closed loop mean here?
It means when the filter cartridge inside the device is full, you don't just throw it away. You send it back to PlanetCare. They then take responsibility for properly handling the collected microfibers, either recycling them into durable goods or ensuring they're contained permanently, preventing them from ever entering the natural environment.
Ah, so they close the loop on the waste they collect.
Exactly. It's definitely an investment compared to a bag, but it tackles that ocean plastic pollution lever really effectively and responsibly, right at the source.
That is genuinely encouraging. It feels like for every single point of friction or impact we discussed, energy, water, plastic, chemicals, microfibers, there's actually a viable solution emerging or even readily available.
There really is, which is incredibly optimistic.
Okay, let's try and distill the core lessons from this whole deep dive into just a few critical insights for everyone listening. What's the first big takeaway?
Insight 1. I think it's understanding that the repetitive nature of laundry is its hidden power. Because we do it so often, maybe 300 times a year per household, small, seemingly minor improvements, when multiplied across millions of homes, lead to absolutely massive collective impact. It far exceeds the individual effort required.
Right, it's the scale. Insight 2.
Temperature is king, or queen. It's the primary climate lever in laundry. Washing in cold water, every time you possibly can, is the single most effective, completely free behavioral change you can make. It can cut up to 75% of a single load's energy use. If you change only one thing, make it this.
Got it. Cold is key. Insight 3.
Waste and pollution in laundry are often logistics and chemistry problems that have solutions. By choosing these ultra-concentrated, plastic-free detergent formats, whether it's strips, pods, and cardboard, or refillable cartons, you simultaneously eliminate those plastic jugs, stop shipping unnecessary water halfway across the country, and often reduce your exposure to harsh chemicals. It's a triple win.
Makes sense. And insight 4.
Greening your laundry really requires rethinking culture. It means normalizing things like re-wearing clothes more than once, spot cleaning, always running full loads, and maybe skipping the dryer whenever possible. These aren't just eco-choices. They actively reduce microfiber pollution, slash energy use, and literally extend the lifespan of every garment you own, saving you money too.
Okay, those are really clear and powerful insights. So to make it super practical, let's leave everyone with 3 immediate actionable steps they could take, maybe starting this week, that go beyond just hitting the cold button. What's the first tip?
First tip, switch your detergent format. Make a conscious commitment to finally ditching that single-use plastic jug. Explore the innovations we talked about. Maybe it's the incredible weight reduction and convenience of strips like True Earth, or the plastic-free cardboard packaging of Dross Pods, or the carton-based refill system from Clean Cult. Find one that works for you and make the switch.
Okay, ditch the jug. Second tip.
Second tip, seriously rethink the dryer. Air dry everything you possibly can, even if it's just hanging half the load on a rack, indoors or outdoors. If you must use the machine, absolutely replace those single-use dryer sheets with reusable wool dryer balls. They'll help reduce drying time a bit, save energy, and eliminate chemical additives and waste.
Air dry more. Use dryer balls. Simple. Third tip.
Third tip, commit to a little experiment. A 2-week wear test, maybe. Before you automatically throw an item in the hamper, especially something more durable like jeans or sweaters or work pants, just pause and ask yourself, does this really need a full wash right now? Or could it just be aired out, spot cleaned, or maybe freshened with a spray? This simple habit shift directly cuts down on resource waste and helps preserve your clothes for longer.
Challenge yourself on the wash reflex. I like that. Okay, so laundry. It's something pretty much every single household does, week in, week out. And, that's exactly what makes making changes to this routine so incredibly powerful.
Exactly. It's universal.
Greening your laundry isn't some niche trend or a small sacrifice. It's actually a really high-impact change that just happens quietly, repeatedly, every week. And it makes you wonder if perhaps the biggest barrier to saving, say, 34 million tons of CO2 annually is simply overcoming the cultural habit of automatically touching a hot water dial or buying the same plastic jug we always have. Well, what other potentially monumental climate solutions are we currently overlooking just because they seem too simple, too mundane, too everyday? That's something to mull over.
It certainly is a very powerful thought to end on.
Interested in learning more about creating a greener, more sustainable home and daily life? Check out the other episodes of the Seeing Green podcast, both the Spotlight series and the Greening My series, and please subscribe while you are at it.
You also can join the Seeing Green community by signing up on the Seeing Green website, where you can see more trailblazers making significant strides in promoting eco-friendly living through innovative products, solutions, and practices online at www.seeinggreen.eco.
And follow us at Seeing Green Eco across social media channels for all the latest tips and solutions. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, LinkedIn, and now also on Pinterest. You name it, we're there. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Greening My series on the Seeing Green podcast. Until next time, keep seeing green.
This episode is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult relevant experts when making changes to your home, health, or habits.